Hi, this is Phil Spencer, and you're listening to the Inner Circle podcast for the fans, by the fans.
Hey, Expedinites, you are now rocking with the Inner Circle podcast, the premier podcast for Xbox One. I'm your host, KLRX Kal-El, with team members B Money 101 and Anchorman V. Today, we got a ton of things to talk about and a lot to catch up on, so let's jump right in. Recently, they started to release the new UI to all of the Xbox preview members, and I got the UI probably about a week after the first wave, or about a week and a half after the first wave. And, after about having it for about a week and some change, I know that it's beta, and I said this on Twitter. I know that it's beta. I know that you're doing a practice run for everybody else, and I know that there's bugs, but I was completely disappointed in what I got. I mean, like, it wasn't even... It didn't even feel like a preview. It even felt like a beta. It felt like it was an alpha. Like, everything was so big when I first got it. Like, all the community area was huge. You couldn't put backgrounds on. You couldn't really do anything with colors. Everything was crashing around me. And then, it was cool though, because I could deal with that. It's a beta. I got it. I understood it. But then what wound up happening was that when I would come out of an app, or I would come out of a game, the whole console would shut off. And I don't mean like shut off and you're in soft reboot and you're like Xbox One and it comes back on. No, it would shut off to orange light. Like, no, you need to grab a controller or hit the console to turn this thing back on. So I was blown. By this. Obviously you have fans out there that follow us on Twitter or listen to us on the TiC podcasts and things like that. And yes, you guys are going to say it's a beta, Cal. You know it's a beta. You know what you signed up for. Of course I know that. I completely get that. I completely understand that. But the thing is that I wasn't expecting my console to be shut off. And to me, that was serious because it was, if I had a game, a save could have been corrupted. Anything could have been corrupted at that point, especially something that I was playing that maybe I put a ton of hours into, like maybe Witcher or something like that. So it just was very concerning for me. And I went on this rant kind of wanted to put out a warning to everybody on Twitter at the time. And I was immediately contacted by my man Mike Yabrera, who reached out and asked me for my console ID, handed it off to some people, and the next thing you knew, about 2 days later, I guess they put out another update, and boom, the console was perfect. Everything was in its place. Everything was where it was supposed to be. Backgrounds were back. Things were working. Console wasn't shutting off or booting down, and I was highly impressed with the new UI, and I love it. I'm really, really in love with it. There's some bugs here and there. Obviously, things still aren't working on Hulu as far as closed caption is concerned. When I watch foreign films or foreign TV shows or anime and things like that, I don't get the closed captions yet for Hulu. But everything else is pretty much quick, to the point, right where it's supposed to be. And I really like the new design and layout of it. So what is your guys' thoughts so far on the new UI, the direction is going, and if they can change anything, what would you change? Let's start with you, Brandon.
I think I got the new update probably around the same time you did. Mm-hmm. Just by being busy, I haven't had too much time to play with it. But the times that I have, when I first got it, I have to say I didn't really like the new layout.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just because I was so used to the previous layout that we had, and the way that we navigated through the screens to find what you're looking for. But once I got the new layout, I think like the community section is a little bit off to me because it only shows like your clips or like the photos. So I think there should definitely be something else there to kind of bring in the whole community aspect.
Right.
When you go to that tab.
Right.
And I know it's in beta and things like that, but it feels kind of sluggish, especially if you're trying to go like to the left side to the menu to like start a party or look at messages and look at notifications. Stuff like that I definitely know will be cleaned up once it's released to the full public. But everything else I think is pretty good. I do like when you get notifications from games or messages from Xbox Live. Everything is grouped together, so you don't have this running line of notifications.
Right.
So if I get a notification from you, a game invite or anything like that, it's all under your name. It's all grouped together. I can go to one place and get it. So I think in those aspects, it's really nice. I would like to see the game section as far as like when you go to the store. I would like to see that open up a little bit more as far as like the front page of it. Yeah, because it only gives you like those two options basically,
right.
Or then you have to browse the full store.
Right.
So I would like to see that open up a little bit, but I mean everything else looks pretty good. It's definitely growing on me. So
yeah, Anchor.
A lot of my stuff was like I got accepted about the same time you were. That second initial wave of people, and like I'd heard it improved quite a bit from the first one. Like they were releasing like an update like every day or every other day with the first wave of people. And like my biggest issue at the time was custom backgrounds. Like I wouldn't set anything. It didn't work with anything.
Yeah.
But like it was like 2 or 3 days later, then they fixed it. I was like, okay, thanks. That's great. Good job. And a lot of my stuff, I love where it's going in terms of concept. There's a few little things they're working through, and about every week now they're updating something significantly, or they might do like a little aesthetic change. Like I'm pretty sure they're gonna put Cortana on the left-hand Windows bar side. I don't know what we're calling it necessarily, but
yeah,
I think they're gonna put it on the Windows bar side instead of what they did before, because somebody found out how to put Cortana on the last build, which was on the right-hand side like a snap. But I think they're gonna put it on left-hand side on the Windows bar.
Yeah.
I mean, ultimately, all my complaints have been fixed over time. Like my only big one right now is using Skype, where we're having Skype in the background isn't working out too well right now. Like you'll back out and it just cuts it off entirely, and that's the biggest issue I can really think of. I haven't had any issues like with it turning off or crashing, honestly. I consider myself lucky.
Nah, you're very, very lucky, to be honest with you. I never had any major issues when it came to like preview program stuff. Being in a preview program from the beginning, one of the first when the Xbox first started the preview program, I just remember not really having many issues. Even when it came to bugs, I didn't really have a lot of issues. So this is the first time that I really had a major issue, and that was kind of surprising, I guess. Maybe I was a little spoiled, I guess you can say, from everything previously. But look, everything has been fixed. They work quickly. The fact that these guys contacted me personally, sent me emails, I got a chance to talk to them direct message via Twitter, was really, really awesome. They didn't have to do that. But I guess, I have a good relationship with the Microsoft team, so they were able to reach out and, give me a chat and actually, take my console. And I'm glad that my software update, they were able to diagnose what the issue was, isolate it, and fix it. And hopefully nobody has those problems in the future. And I'm very glad that I'm able to contribute to that. Really, really.
That's one of the things about being in a beta. If it's an open beta or some sort of thing, like in this sort of situation, like, yeah, clearly if you're in a closed beta and you're under NDA, you can't say anything. But like these sort of situations, we're supposed to give feedback.
Right.
We're supposed to make it known. And like for people who are like not really in a public scene or anything, yes, you're supposed to report it. Yes, you're supposed to go to the forums and use those. But even then, like for those of us who are followed like from big name guys who will get the information firsthand, it makes sense. Why don't we go to Twitter? Why don't we bring that up there? It's not like we're making YouTube videos about like, oh, this beta's broken.
Right. We're trying to trash it like somebody else might do, to get the publicity or the hits and anything like that. I think it makes a lot of sense to do those things, and people are not going to like it because they may feel like you're whining or they may feel like you're complaining. But the reality of it is exactly like you said. If you're a beta tester, you need to put this out in the public so that way enough voices can reach out to the big developers and things like that, and try to get these things isolated and fixed as quickly as possible, especially something as major as having the beta shut down your console, or actually having the OS shut down your console because it's crashing. So I'm glad that that got taken care of. So yeah, obviously with the new build, you no longer have access to Cortana, but recently there's been some good news that came out for Xbox fans who don't have Kinect and was concerned about getting Windows 10 and having to use Kinect only to talk to Cortana. You no longer need a Kinect to talk to Cortana and to navigate the Xbox UI. You can use your headset, and to me, that is huge. That is very, very big. Obviously, you want to talk to Kinect. You want the peripheral to have some purpose. I think it has major purpose. But having Kinect integrated into it or only using it just didn't seem right. It didn't seem right at all. And I'm glad that they got this fixed. Anchor, what is your thoughts on this move?
I'm really, really glad because for those of us who got like a launch Xbox One, we were saddled with Kinect, and I've had my second Kinect break within exactly a 1 year span, where the first one broke whenever Winter Soldier came out, actually that exact day when Captain America Winter Soldier came out, and it came back, just didn't work, couldn't figure it out. We talked to support, they couldn't figure it out, and I was under warranty, got a new one, and within a year, the same exact day, it breaks. And I'm like, what happened?
Right.
And so, I mean, I heard Cortana was coming, I was like, I might have to go get another Kinect for this.
Right.
And I was still a little pissed off because it was like, my Kinect broke again. And I was like, I really want to mess with Cortana.
Yeah.
And now that I hear that Cortana, you don't even have to have the Kinect now, I'm like, great, I'm done.
Right.
Ready to move on.
I think most people would prefer it because the mic is so close to your face anyway. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like it's
Not
like
shouting.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it's like when you really want to say something, you really want her to understand what you're saying. You could talk right into the microphone because your words will come through clearer compared to talking across the room into the Kinect. B, what is your thoughts?
I think it's a genius move. As we can see, Microsoft is kind of pushing Kinect to the side without, really saying anything about it. So I think it's definitely smart to use a headset. Kinect isn't necessary, and I think people who don't have headsets and only use Kinect for voice are kind of annoying anyway. So we can kind of push that to the side, and everyone go pick up a headset and use a new feature.
Yeah, we got a guy. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, and if you're listening, I do apologize. But we got a guy that's on Twitter. He's a big fan of Kinect, and I respect his opinion a lot because the guy he's really all about Kinect. He's all about hardware, and he's very disappointed with the Microsoft team and Phil Spencer and their lack of support for the Kinect. But look, you can't blame those guys. Let's just be real here. You can't blame these guys for the lack of support for Kinect. You have to really blame either the developers who have come out with this shovelware type games like The Fighter Within, which was just a travesty in itself, or the unfortunate situation that happened with Kinect Sports. It just didn't get picked up the way the Kinect did on 360. Obviously, keep the Kinect relevant by having other things and other ways and forms of using it. And I think it's the right way of doing it anyway. So, not having Kinect or not having Cortana be relying on Kinect was a smart thing, and it also opens it up to the people who want to get Xbox Ones, and now they don't feel left out because Cortana was Kinect exclusive, and that's a good thing, and that's a plus for Microsoft, clearly. Microsoft has been making a lot of moves lately. A lot of moves lately. And there's been rumors of them picking up AMD. We know about cloud and CloudGen and Crackdown and everything. We're starting to get little news here and there trickle out about what the cloud can do, what it's capable of, and how it could affect Microsoft and how it could affect games in the future. But, the thing that recently just happened that is like mind blowing to a certain extent is that Microsoft have just purchased Havok. And for those of you who don't know who Havok is, if you don't know who Havok is, you clearly do not pay attention to the startup of your video games. Havok is a physics software company, that pretty much is the baseline for most games when it comes to physics in the games that's being played today. And they've been in damn near every game you could possibly think of. Anchor, do you have anything on that?
Oh my gosh, they have been in. Like I'm pulling up a list here, and this is just in alphabetical order. I'm just gonna read a couple of them: the Age of Empires series, Alan Wake, the Assassin's Creed series, Battlefield 3, the BioShock series. Shoot, there's tons of these. Call of Duty Black Ops 2, Darksiders, Dark Souls. There's quite a few. Dragon Ball Xenoverse was a recent one. Elder Scrolls Oblivion, Skyrim Online, Fable, Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas. It just goes on the line. Half-Life 2, the Halo series, except for the first one. Mm-hmm. And there are a ton of games they've been involved in. Like pretty much every major game that's come out in the last, I don't know, 10, 15 years.
Pretty much. Yeah. I mean, they've been in everything. They really have. I mean, they're the premier physics engine when it comes to, the physics of characters in games, the way they fall, get hurt, the way enemies get attacked, the way they get shot.
Cloth physics?
Yeah, cloth physics. Like, they're
cloth
really...
physics, bullet physics, anything that has to do with physics.
Anything that has to do with physics. They are the premier software company. Now... Microsoft just turns around and buys these guys, and now they are able to license out this software to your favorite games, your Halos, your Uncharted's, your Gods of Wars, your Fables, and obviously Crackdown. There's a major reason behind this, and the theory that the team in here has been thinking about is the rumor of Microsoft buying AMD. This rumor's been going on for a while now, and obviously there is no proof that this is happening. There is nothing that anyone has told us or that we've read recently that states that Microsoft plans on buying them. But let's just do a hypothetical, okay? Hypothetically, if Microsoft turns around, okay, they've already purchased Havok. They already have cloud. They have the infrastructure with Azure. They're working with CloudGen. And if they turn around and buy AMD, wow, this is going to be major, major, major. And I mean, not only for Xbox, but in the streaming space when it comes to streaming games online. This could be the future of what Microsoft is doing. And a lot of times we try to say, is the next console going to be a streaming box? Is it going to be a hardware box? I don't know. Maybe it's going to be a little bit of both.
Man, I've said it before. I'll say it again, man. Microsoft's playing chess. Everybody else is playing checkers. They come out of nowhere with all these crazy power moves. And, if you're in tune to the Microsoft space and you've been paying attention to what they've been doing, they just talked about Surface Pro 4. They got the new laptop, so they're finally making their own laptop. So when you look at purchases like Havok and the potential of them picking up AMD, they could potentially make their own gaming PCs because they really want to get back in the PC space. Mm-hmm. They can make gaming tablets and really, take advantage of that and becoming mobile, using the Xbox, as a home platform and your Surface as your mobile platform. There's so many capabilities that they have when you think about purchasing AMD because if you're in the gaming PC space, NVIDIA is kind of like that juggernaut.
Right.
And AMD, they got some good things coming, but they just didn't have the backing that they needed. And if Microsoft were to pick them up, they'd be right up there with NVIDIA and maybe even surpass what they can do. We know what NVIDIA did with the NVIDIA Shield and the new streaming thing that they have going on. So if you look at CloudGen and the purchase of Havok and possibly AMD purchase, Microsoft might be looking to take care of that space as well.
Even more on the short-term aspect of it, like I know Havok actually put out a little newsletter before the news of the buyout happened during E3, and they said every game at E3 2015 that won an award had assets from Havok in it. And that includes exclusives, multiplats, every single game. And even just in the short-term expediency thing, that means Microsoft's going to be making money even from Sony exclusive games. Like they even use stuff, Super Smash Bros. Even uses assets from Havok. I mean, that's a big deal.
It is a big deal.
It's kind of amazing thing that if Microsoft in the short term as well, they can also use the assets essentially for free in any of their games. But they are also going to have access to the money that comes in from all these other competitors of theirs. They're going to be making money off of those other games. Like Uncharted 4 is going to be using Havok.
Right.
And this definitely helps them boost the profits when it comes to looking at their financials for the gaming sector.
Right.
So, we know the losses that it took with the 360 generation, and we know that, Xbox One has been profitable for them. So
right.
if you add something like this where you're getting, revenue from different sources, and you really don't have to do much else with it, that's just a plus.
This is the second time Microsoft has done something like this. And the first time was with Minecraft. You look at Minecraft, they turn around, they buy this company for $2 billion. Okay. You turn around, you got Legos, you got Minecraft, a Telltale game, Minecraft Story. You got Minecraft on tablets, PCs, phones, PS3, PS4, Xbox 360, Xbox One, and all that money is going back to Microsoft. Then you turn around, you have Havok that literally has their hands in everything, and all that money is going back to Microsoft. This is crazy. This is crazy. Microsoft is making money without even producing games for their own gaming division, and that's what's amazing. And I just don't see them suddenly giving up. By them purchasing Havok, it says a lot. They're not bowing out of any race or anything when it comes to Xbox and when it comes to gaming. There is no bowing out. And the potential of them having hardware in the home, having Xbox as the home console, then turn around and you have the ability to either, and this is only a hypothetical, if they were to purchase AMD, you now have the ability to create laptops with high-end GPUs, tablets with high-end GPUs. You have your cloud infrastructure probably being number one because no one else in the video game industry right now, as far as consoles is concerned, has an infrastructure built for cloud the way Microsoft has. Okay, they have the networks all over the world, already built, already set in stone. They are already building the first cloud-based game, okay, at least in a multiplayer aspect. No other company in the console world is doing that at the moment. No other company. So they are really innovating at this point. And if they are able to pick up AMD, I can guarantee you the next Xbox is going to be a monster machine. You are lowering the cost of whatever high-end GPU you're going to get. You have Havok. You can use that for free. You already are doing cloud. You already have DX12, and DX12 is going to be crazy on the next console by then. Everybody be familiar with it. Most people who are gaming on PCs or building games on PCs will be using it. You already see the lineup of people who are going to be using the API, from DICE all the way to, the guys over at EA. There's a lot of devs lined up to use DX12. So the potential is there. Microsoft is making the right moves, I think. And with Phil Spencer in charge of the Xbox division, knowing how fans are, and this guy's a PC guy. Okay, he's a PC guy. Knowing how Xbox fans are and how we were griping about them and what they did with the ESRAM instead of going with, GDDR5 because they wanted to be cheap about it, I can guarantee you that the next console is going to be a beast and damn near untouchable. So that's going to be really huge. Now, for this generation, though, Phil had came out and he said some words that everyone's taken to heart, and some people have lost their minds because of it. Phil came out and said that when he was asked a question about whether or not the Xbox One could catch the PS4 this generation, he said he honestly doesn't think they can. But what everybody heard was, I'm going to give up, and there's no way we can catch PlayStation 4. That's what everybody else heard. But that's not what he said. And that's pretty funny. So, I mean, how do you guys take his comments? I mean, I know exactly what he was saying and what he meant, but how do you guys take his comments? Let's start with you, Anchor. What do you think he was trying to say in the conversation, this interview that he was having when they asked him these questions?
When it comes to the discussion of the console war, I don't think anyone else, not even the other CEOs, are more outspoken than Phil Spencer on the topic.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, first of all, I find it funny that people are acting surprised that he's always downplayed the console war. I mean, when he when quote unquote took office, he pretty much condemned the console war.
Right.
Says I owned everything and I don't have any agenda here other than to make Xbox a great platform for people who own it.
Right.
And that's all he actually wanted to do. And I find it funny that people think that he's still trying to perpetuate the console war. Like, oh, he's giving in. And in the long run, I don't know why everybody had this assumption that the Xbox One was going to outsell the PlayStation all across the world.
Yeah.
I mean, even last generation, the Xbox really only had any dominance in North America and maybe even a couple of places in Europe. But I mean, that was pretty much it.
Right.
The Sony and the PlayStation 4 had more of a control over Asia and pretty much globally.
Right.
And so I don't understand where this thought that the Xbox One was going to outsell everything. And what Xbox is doing at this point is just trying to reclaim North America. At least, yeah, that's what I think they're doing. Mm-hmm. And I'm no expert.
Right. I
mean, and they're just trying to make sure the Xbox is a valid platform and is just as fun as anything else.
I think that they're pretty close. They're not too far behind in the U.S. You know, it's not like it is in Japan where it's like Xbox sold 60,000 consoles and Sony's at like 2 million. You know, that's a feat. They're only down, by less than 1 million consoles in the United States, and I think in the UK it may be a little bit closer. Actually, maybe not too far apart. Actually, the U.S. is a little bit closer. In the U.K., it may not be that far off as well. But I agree with you. I just don't see why people suddenly thought, with the lead that they had, that Xbox would automatically, in like the next year, make this astonishing comeback of selling 10 million consoles to catch the PlayStation 4. B, what is your thoughts?
This is why I like Phil, because he keeps it 100. You know what I mean? He ain't got to sugarcoat nothing.
Right.
He don't have to say, oh, nah, next year, we coming back, we going to stomp him out. He's humble about what he's doing. He understands, the direction that they're trying to take the console. And he just said, no, we might not catch him, And anyone who understands the gaming industry, you would know that it's going to be tough for them to catch him.
Right.
PlayStation is just well known as a global gaming console.
Right.
It's always sold well globally, and Microsoft has always had a focus in the U.S. So I think that's very important for them to kind of stake their claim in the U.S. and try to get control of that again. And I think they're taking the steps to do that. You can look at this holiday lineup and the games that they announced for 2016. They're taking all the right steps to try to reclaim the U.S. And the U.K. as well. I think a lot of the games have a broadened reach, so they're more appealing to more gamers this time around. So that'll also help. So we'll see where it goes, but I just like the fact that he was real about the answer.
Yeah, I like the fact he was real about the answer. Some people said that he should just ignore PlayStation questions or Nintendo questions. And then you know what that does? This is what happens. Oh, Phil Spencer is scared to talk about PlayStation, Nintendo, or he's scared to talk about Sony because, they're doing this or they're doing that. I think it takes a lot of, balls to sit up there, avoid questions that try to cause conflicts between console manufacturers. It also takes a lot to be in charge of a division and give praise to other developers and other console manufacturers, especially console manufacturers that rarely, and I mean rarely, give praise to your console. So he is the bigger man in that regard. But I also think that what he's saying is just factual. Fans don't want to hear that. Diehard fans don't want to hear that. I'm a diehard Xbox fan, but the reality of it is the reality of it. He was asked a question, he answered the question, and the question was basically the truth. We don't know if the Xbox will ever catch up to the PlayStation 4. Does that make the Xbox a terrible console? Hell no. Does it make it worse than Sony? Hell no. I just don't understand. In my opinion, Microsoft has the best AAA games on any platform right now. And they have the best AAA lineup coming out in 2016, in my opinion. Now, there's a ton of games more that's going to come out for every console. You got Zelda dropping next year. Who knows what Nintendo has up their sleeve? Who knows what Sony has up their sleeve? But I can tell you this, Microsoft has more games coming and more new IPs coming, and that's been confirmed. So I'm definitely looking forward to what they have. I think people are blowing it out of proportion and really need to take a step back and really listen to or read that article all over again and read what he was actually saying in that to understand where he's coming from and why his focusing on what the gamers want and producing high quality games and getting high quality games for the Xbox One is the greatest thing they could possibly do. Because next gen, all those games we got is going to be amazing on the next console, and they're going to be amazing right now as the catalog gets bigger and better with new IPs and fresh games. So, we got Halo 5 dropping. This is Halo month. I'm really excited to get my hands on this game. It is the premier first-person shooter on any, and I do mean any, platform, including PC. I don't care if you PC elitists are in here listening right now. Halo is that game, and it looks great. There's a lot of videos going on right now. They have an event coming up the day before the game releases. Microsoft and YouTube will be working together to put on this Halo event where you'll be able to see some of the gameplay play and things like that. But Halo 5, big game. I don't know what the reviews are going to be like. I don't know what the sales are going to be like. But let's just reflect on that for a bit. Brandon, let's start with you. What are you looking forward to with Halo 5, and what are your expectations for the game?
This is the most excited I've been about a Halo game ever. You guys know I'm a Gears guy. That's kind of my go-to shooter as far as Microsoft exclusive IP. But this is the most excited I've been. I really like the fact that there's different classes this time around. That's really intriguing to me, coming from a military shooter background. So that's super intriguing. Team Lock over here. So I definitely want to see what that story's all about and what happens with Master Chief. And then I'm excited for the multiplayer, man. It's gotten back to its core. So it's getting back to what I loved. Getting back in there with the 4 versus 4.
Yeah.
So I'm excited, man. I definitely can't wait. Me and my boys will be on that day one, crack through that campaign, and then right into multiplayer.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. Anchor?
I'm certainly glad to find another Team Lock member right here. Oh my gosh, thank you. I've been Team Lock since they showed that guy. I was like, finally. For me, I'm not really even a Halo guy. I don't even particularly care for Halo, but we played that beta back in January or late December.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh,
it was sick.
that was the point where Halo finally lived up to the title of Combat Evolved.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, finally, this was a definite step in the right direction. I can't even think of what to say. It's such a good game. From everything I've seen, from the little snippet of multiplayer I got to try out, I like it. I like it. I can't wait for this game. I have not been really ever excited for a Halo game before, and this is the moment where I'm like, I really want to see what happens. And it's also like a pivotal point for the Halo franchise. It's like they've introduced a new protagonist. They're going to a explicitly 4-player co-op campaign, and it's definitely a step in the right direction for the multiplayer. I don't know what else to point out about the game. It looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm personally hoping for Locke to step into the shoes of Master Chief.
Oh, whoa.
But,
whoa. That's blasphemy right there. That's a bit much. I like Locke too, but
I want to see a change in the series. I want to see where it can go, and that's all I can really say about it.
Oh man, you're gonna have all the Anchor fanboys. You're gonna have all the
if
Halo
you don't
fanboys
like
in
it,
here.
you guys go check out my Twitter account at the Anchorman all one word. If you don't agree with my Agent Locke Team Locke stances, let me know.
Yo, I'm so hyped for this game, man. They've been showing all this stuff on all these different channels. IGN's got it running. You got people getting the game early, and I'm just trying to avoid looking at the game, man. All I can tell you is that I'm super excited for the story. I love multiplayer. I love playing multiplayer with the clan and everything, but I'm like one of the few people that play Halo for the story. I just love Halo story. I love the lore of it. You know, I love all of the books. I read most of them. I find the terminals. I like getting the extra content and trying to understand what's happening in the game. And now that they're introducing Locke, and I'll be honest with you, I would love to see a spinoff of Locke as him as just like a bounty hunter Spartan, traveling through the galaxy, hunting all these different, Covenant races or alien races and things like that. Maybe they can introduce some new aliens, as a Spartan, trying to bring these guys in for whatever reasons the UNSC would want them, or Oni or whatever, whoever's running his outfit. But I'm super excited for Halo for multiple reasons, and I think that this game is going to be the game that's going to finally define 343. Honestly, 343 gets a bad rap for Halo 4, but I thought Halo 4 probably had the best story out of all of the Halos. It was so detailed and it was so good. Obviously, the multiplayer left much to be desired. It really went the Call of Duty route. A lot of us weren't fans of that, and I'll be honest with you, I dropped Halo 4, traded it in quickly because of the Call of Duty style. I'm a big fan of Halo 2's multiplayer, big fan of Halo 3's multiplayer, so I was disappointed in 4. But after playing 5, man, the speed of it, the thrusting left and bursting back and, ground pounding, man, it just was awesome. I never felt like using the assault rifle was a worthy weapon to use. There hasn't been a Halo where you felt like, okay, if I had the assault rifle, I'm good. I can go into combat with it. I always had to get the DMR or the battle rifle or something. I had to get rid of that assault rifle. But actually, if you have the assault rifle, it does pretty good damage, especially in bursts. So really excited for Halo. My expectations for the game, though, very quickly. Listen, we don't have the install base of any other Halo has had before, especially because right now Microsoft is sitting around 15-16 million in sales. I don't expect Halo to sell 9 million to the install base. I really don't. I do expect it to move units out of this world. Microsoft may sell 1 million consoles by the end of Black Friday weekend, based on Halo alone, especially if the reviews are high in the 9s. I can see the game probably selling about 5 million by the end of the year. maybe 4 million by the end of the year going into next year. Probably by the end of the business fiscal year, maybe around 6 million for Halo 5, and then 6 and 7 will go up. It'll probably hit 7, and then 6 will probably hit 7 million, and then 7 will probably hit like 8 or 9 million, or maybe more, maybe 10. Who knows? Depends on the quality of the game. But looking forward to it. I can't wait to play it, and I really hope that the game lives up to all its expectations, because it's a really awesome game. Very quickly though, Microsoft and 343, they have these microtransactions in the games, and season passes and the microtransactions have been a big thing lately in games, and the way they give away content. Now the 343 team has done an excellent job in the way they're giving away their content. A lot of the content is free. You get these microtransactions with these rec packs. But then you have other games like Star Wars Battlefront, where you don't even know what you're paying for when you get this season pass, and you have a choice. So, Brandon, what is your thoughts on season passes for games that are dropping this holiday, and the way fans are reacting to the details that they're getting?
I think the way that fans are reacting is kind of warranted, because a lot of the information that is coming out really isn't that detailed. I had the same feeling for Batman when they released that season pass, and they were like, oh, for the next 6 months you'll get all this content, and then finally today they released what the rest of the content was going to be. And that season pass, I believe, was $50. And just looking at the rest of the content that's included in that season pass, I just don't think $50 warrants, what they're giving in that content. And then I look at a game like Witcher 3, where they have about additional 40 hours of content, and their season pass was $25. So, you kind of outweigh what you're getting for what you're paying, and I think, that's a pretty good value.
Yeah.
When it comes to the whole Battlefront thing, though, I have to kind of look at it the same way that I look at Battlefield, because that's essentially the same developer that's making that game, and I would think that the expansion pass would be the same way that they release Battlefield Premium. So those expansion packs are usually well worth the $50. I would hope that Battlefront would be the same way. Hopefully they release new game modes and things like that to kind of fulfill what that game is going to be, especially since it's basically like an online-only game. But then I look at, one of the games that I'm hyped for the rest of the year, which is Rainbow Six. And, that's an online-only game, basically. They have come out and said that their future maps will be free, but they also have an expansion pass, which they have not revealed the details of that expansion pass. So that's kind of concerning to me as well. I'm a big fan of Rainbow Six, always have been. But when you see things like that, it kind of puts you off balance a little bit, and kind of look at the developer with a little bit of a side eye. Like, I just gave you $60, so, where's the rest of my game at?
Yeah.
Why do I have to pay another $50 or $60 to get what should have been there in the first place?
Right.
But I think, as a consumer, it's definitely something that you have to pay attention to. If you're going to buy expansion pass, make sure you're actually going to invest the time to enjoy the content. Otherwise, it's basically just throwing your money in the wind. A lot of people who probably bought that Batman game and bought the expansion pass, they're probably not playing that game right now. Just to get skins and race tracks and things like that. That $50 basically went in the wind, and they're not enjoying that content anyway. So when it comes to passes, definitely do your research, kind of know what you're paying for, and then invest that money wisely.
Yeah. Anchor, any thoughts on that?
A lot of the time when it comes to expansion passes or season passes or something of that nature, especially ones that cost $50, most gamers, I would say, are not really concerned with the fact that they exist. It's really only a problem whenever you think that the base game is lacking in content.
Right.
Where Destiny is a good example of that, where the biggest complaint with Destiny was it's lacking any of the parts we were promised. It's lacking a coherent story. It's lacking just the regular amounts of content. Another good example is Star Wars Battlefront. A lot of people are critiquing Battlefront for lacking many features. Like there's no campaign or galactic conquest. From what we know, there's no like class choosing like there were in past Battlefront games. It's all loadout based. There's no prequel era at all. It's just classic. And I mean, there's a lot of content that's missing from the other games that we come to know and love. And that's why there's a problem with the gamers are having with these games. It's that you're asking $50 more, and we feel like you're not delivering enough content for even $60.
Right.
That's when it becomes a problem. Right. Games like Witcher 3 or even Fallout 4, like games that have a proven track record of delivering actual expansions and not just, oh, here's a handful of missions or here's some skins or here's a handful of weapons that we're going to add into the game. Stuff like that, it feels like you're pissing away the $50 for the season pass. Right. Like, what was it? Evolve?
Yeah,
Evolve had like its season pass. Like, here's a new monster. Which, I mean, in a multiplayer game, I guess it's okay. It's like a new character, but I mean, all right.
Yeah, it was a bit much, definitely. I don't have much to say about season passes. I don't buy them. I'm just keeping it 100. I don't. I just, if it comes in pieces and it's cheap, I'll buy what I want. If it doesn't, then I don't buy them, be honest with you. So I really don't have much to say about season passes, but just to reiterate what these guys are saying, evaluate the content that you have. If you feel that is worth the money, then go ahead and kick it out. If you get those extra couple of hours of content and you really love the game, but if you don't feel like it's worth the money, man, stay away. Don't waste your time. Don't put your money into it, because in the end you'll just regret it, and you definitely won't feel like you put your money towards the things you want.
And no matter what, do not pre-order a season pass. Do not do it. If a game is putting out some sort of bonus for you to pre-order a season pass, chances are the season pass itself is kind of skimping.
More than likely. Definitely more than likely. So we're about to head out of here. Before we do, though, I'm going to give my man Anchorman the spotlight on Elite Dangerous, a game I am highly, highly looking forward to playing when I get some free time. And he's been spending an extensive amount of time with it. So here's his Anchorman rant on Elite Dangerous.
All right, I'm going to keep it short. I got Elite Dangerous whenever they announced it at, I think it was they announced it at the developer conference, and then it went live and preview for E3, and I got it then, and I played for maybe about 2 or 3 hours, maybe 5 hours max, and I didn't think much about it. But whenever they finally put it into like the official launch on Tuesday, I got all into it, and I've been playing for 10 or 11 days now, and I've put in over 101 hours into the game against my will.
Oh, wow.
I've put in a lot of time into this game. This game, if you've ever had an interest in space, anything, Star Trek, Star Wars, the old 90s PC games like Freelancer or Wing Commander, anything like that, you have got to get this game. It is $37.50 as the starting price. That's not a sale. That's how much the game costs. It's available on Xbox One. It's currently not a cross-play game, but it's a shared universe. The stuff that exists in the PC world exists in the Xbox world. Like things you discover in the Xbox world is transferred to the PC world and vice versa. Economic trends. It is so much fun. Even just before this podcast, I was playing with a buddy of mine. We were involved in this really deep dogfight. I got attacked all of a sudden by a random anaconda, destroyed my ship halfway through. I had like 3% left on my hull. The visor with all the information was gone, so the HUD was completely gone. And all of a sudden, in that battle, the screen cracked, and it was just the complete silence of space. So you can hear yourself breathing, and I zipped my way back to the the spaceport and died. With only 10 seconds of air left, about a mile away from the spaceport.
Oh man!
It is that kind of game. You will get addicted to it if you have time to spare, and even time you don't have to spare. This game will take it away.
This is exactly why I'm not playing this game right now.
Yeah, that's the same way.
I got a kid. This kid's got to eat. I got to potty train him. This kid will be running around here starving with poop in his pants. Like, I can't do it right now. But I'm definitely going to try to play everything else. I got to catch up Metal Gear. I'm trying to beat Destiny's Story before Halo 5 comes out, and then Tomb Raider after that. So once all that's done by December, I'm going to pick up Elite and go in. And I can't wait to play it. I'm super excited because I'm a big Wing Commander fan, and I can't wait to play it. So that's our podcast for this week, man. You know, we do apologize for being away for so very long. Obviously, we are trying our best to get things scheduled properly and get everybody back on and things like that. So we're going to work extra hard to try to be as consistent as we can for our, valuable and loyal listeners out there who listen to us on YouTube, iTunes, Android, Windows, Stitcher, and Podbean. We really appreciate it. We will be back. I don't want to give any dates. I really don't, but we'll be back as soon as we can, probably within the next 2 weeks. I'm definitely going to try to book that and schedule that. And now we'll be back sometime this weekend with the pod shot, chatting on a few topics and things that I want to talk about personally. So I appreciate you guys listening. I'm your boy KLWar Kal-El, the last on the planet Xbox, here with my team Anchorman V and B Money 101. Shout out to Skittles 1323. He is off this planet. Peace.
For the fans, by the fans.